The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
We are back. We're going to have like a round table of Mets and Yankees, New York City baseball, past, present, and future. I'm Ralph Tyko, the weak link of it all at Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. And we have an incredible panel. We have Robert Deininger. How are you, Robert?
Thanks, Ralph.
Jack Degraw. Jack, welcome.
Thank you. How's everybody tonight?
We're all alive and kicking, and that's a good thing. So, how about Marty Rose? How are you, Marty?
I am fine, Ralph. I am fine, and there's a little bit of Mets news, we can get to first if you want.
Okay, please. Oh, who else is here that I'm leaving out? No, we're all here. Okay. Marty, if you would.
Yeah, okay. Well, the latest thing that just broke is that Wilmer Flores is shut down for the rest of the year because he has early onset arthritis in both knees. So that just came out a little while ago. And yesterday they said that Wheeler was going to be shut down, I guess because of innings, for the rest of the year, and Corey Oswalt will be taking his spot. So,
boy, that is an amazingly good move, all things considered. You don't want to stretch this guy out coming back from it. He's been a terrific surprise.
Yes, very much so. And they're helping out. They're helping out Degraw tonight by scoring 3 early runs against Scherzer.
Wow.
With back-to-back homers by Conforto and Bruce tonight. So,
will that game be rained out?
I don't know. Why would it be rained out?
Just because I'm a Met fan, and that's the way. That's my first thought.
No.
Can't blame me. 55 years.
Okay, well that's the news. That's today's news anyway.
All right, that's some terrific news. Sorry to hear that about Flores. That absolutely destroys his trade value to an American League team over the this
absolutely
off season.
Yep.
That's horrible, as a matter of fact. And to have it come on, arthritis in both knees at the same time is
very bad.
Quite a coincidence. And but who knew? And boy, you never. That couldn't have been something. That had to be a slow ontake, and he must have been suffering from that for quite some time.
I would think so, to have it checked out and come up with that diagnosis so quickly. Yeah, he must have been hurting for a while with that. So, too bad.
So, but it's good news in the sense, and you've been calling for this all year long, Mert, is for Oswalt to get some sort of consistent chance. Where he's been pretty good as a starter. The only reason his ERA is so bad is that they stuck him in blowout games at the end when he really had no business being in the game. I think he gave up 6 runs in 1 inning one time, and another time it was a very similar situation. But when he's gotten the chance to start, he's been pretty good. So, okay.
Yeah.
I did forget to introduce you, Gene, the Yankee-hating machine. Gene Hutmaker is here, a friend of the network. You've done the St. Louis show on Comfortably Zoned, and we don't talk about your book all that often. And just for a second, you guys indulge me and listened to Gene's story about his terrific book, and how did the idea of doing a book on the experience of not liking the Yankees come about?
Well, 2003, I came back from my bookstore complaining about all the Yankee books to my Yankee-loving son, who heard my stories forever. He knows quite a bit about baseball. He goes, well, write your own book. And I said, I will if you help me. And I'm at the age where they humor me. And I said, yeah, I'll help you. I go, you're on. And I decided to write the book. From 1953 to 2005. It was published in 2006. In 1953, started rooting for the Cardinals and Stan the Man. The Cardinals were kind of so-so. Late to enter signing blacks and not having any pitching. They were a so-so team. And in my house, everybody kind of hated the Yankees. And it was the McCarthy hearings were going on. And I equated the Yankees with McCarthy's commies. But the real Reds were in Cincinnati. But anyway, I decided to take them on, and I decided to write the book. I am the biggest Yankee hater on the planet. My mother grew up a Yankee fan with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, and back in 1941, her neighbor in Bloomfield, New Jersey, became a star pitcher with the Yankees. 1942-43, won some World Series games. 1945, he was 10-5. This is Hank Baroe, 10-5 in the middle of 1945. Yankees traded him to the Cubs. He won 11-2, was the pitcher of the year, and was the last Chicago Cub to win a World Series game till recently. So once they traded my mom's neighbor, she stopped being a Yankee fan, and her being of Polish ancestry, decided to root for Stash Musial. My father was also a Yankee fan growing up, and Ruth and Gehrig, and he used to caddy in the Montclair Country Club. He grew up in Verona, New Jersey. He used to caddy for George Weiss. George Weiss at the time was running the North Bears, the New York Yankees' successful minor league team. Well, George Weiss tried to cut Mickey Mantle's salary after he was an MVP in 1957, and he also tipped his caddies the same way. So my father stopped being a Yankee fan and became a Mela Carl Hubble fan. That's the reason my parents did not like the Yankees. So I just grew up in a Yankee-hating house, and they said back in '53 he was rooting for United States Steel. When you're rooting for the Yankees, they won 5 in a row, and nobody's supposed to be liking the bully. The American way, root for the underdog.
With all that said, Gene, and your Yankee-hating roots, you are absolutely objective when we talk about the greatness of the Yankees back in those days. And when you talk about how the Yankees are doing now, you root against them. But ironically, some of your favorite all-time ball players of any team are Yankees. Go explain that one.
Yeah, I was. When I first started, Enos Slaughter was one of my big guys, and then he really helped the Yankees win the World Series in '56 against the Dodgers.
Right.
But I do, like you said, I'm objective. I respect what Jeter did. Personally, I'm for a big Hall of Fame, and if I had to vote, I'd vote for Mattingly, Munson, and Guidry for the Hall of Fame.
But let's be honest about your Hall of Fame selections. You just assume every really good ball player were in the Hall of Fame. Am I correct?
I could probably come up with about, from starting in 1920 with Stuffy McGinnis, I could come up with probably 50 people I probably have in.
You'd have in.
Don't forget, the Hall of Fame is loaded because of the Frankie Frisch Veterans Committee getting his very good ball player teammates in, Cardinals and Giants. So there are a lot of very good players that are in the Hall of Fame, not really Hall of Famers.
That are in already.
They are in, but they really are like very good players, not really Hall of Fame talent. They're bottom rung. They're from the Veterans Committee back when I think Frankie Frisch got about 10 of his teammates in.
Well, the one guy I want to talk to before we start talking about the current Yankees to you about is maybe your second favorite all-time ball player, and that's Ken Boyer. And it's your contention, and as is many, that if Ron Santo is in the Hall of Fame, Ken Boyer should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they're on a par. Naturally, I'm probably prejudiced toward Boyer, but he had a better batting average. One thing that they don't talk about Boyer and a lot of players, because he wasn't in World War II, he did give up 2 years with Uncle Sam, which that would have been his minor league years. So he did lose 2 years with Uncle Sam, whereas like Santo didn't.
Good point.
Willie Mays lost 2 years. Willie Mays would have probably had like 720 homers if he didn't play ball for Uncle Sam.
Well, all I know is that the three best third basemen in the years that Mert and I grew up together, and all you guys pretty much grew up at the same age, approximately, was, in my opinion, Eddie Matthews, Kenny Boyer, and then Ron Santo. So to me, to be perfectly frank, I don't think either are Hall of Famers. They fall under the really good ball players. No disgrace to be a Gus Bell or, in this case, because he's blatantly left out, Gil Hodges and some others. They're good ball players, but doesn't necessarily mean they have to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, that's my opinion. Let's go around the room, and we'll start with Robert Deininger. What do you think of what I said? You better agree or you'll never be back. Oh, never mind. Say anything.
I agree. I'm sorry, Luke Voigt just hit another home run. His kid's having a heck of a September. Boyer is someone who my dad used to talk about and rave about. I would have loved to seen him play third base.
Yeah, he was excellent. He wasn't quite as good defensively as his brother Cleet, but very few were. Terrific ball player. And by all accounts, a good guy. Am I right, Gene?
Yeah, he also, a lot of people say he's just the same numbers every year. He was the player of the year, unanimous player of the year in 1964, so he did have a signature season, and he was real big in a World Series win against the Yankees. And he also, even though he wasn't as good as his brother,
particularly well with the Mets. He came over and
well, he was washed up.
Faded quickly. How about Jack? Tell us what you think about what we said.
Well, my first memory of Kenny Boyer, he was a terrific ball player, is the grand slam he hit in the 1964 World Series. And I remember talking to Cleet Boyer in the early 90s, and he always said, he goes, I never know why Al Downing threw my brother a changeup. So that's what I remember about Kenny Boyer. But if you look at the stats, I don't think there's any question he should be in too.
Okay. Mert?
Yeah, I think it should be. All those guys that you mentioned, Eddie Matthews and Boyer and obviously Santo, I think all three of them should be in because those are the guys that stuck in my mind. Those are the guys that the names you come up with right away without even having to think. So if you ask me for another guy from that era, I don't know if I could come up with another guy.
In the National League.
Those were the main guys. And I think all three of them should be in, personally.
Good. Okay, let's start what I consider to be an interesting topic. Let's start with Jack. I'd like your impression of what's going on in Metsville, somewhat from the outside, but you have an informed opinion. So let's start there.
Well, I think somebody looking from the outside is I'm impressed with the Mets pitching, and I think that's where it all starts from. So there is some hope from the future, and they played pretty well lately, and a couple of the everyday players seem to be developing pretty well. So after a great start and then like a miserable June, things are kind of looking up. I just hope they spend some money this winter and improve the team, because the Yankee-Met rivalry is just, great for the city and great for baseball.
Absolutely. How about Robert? And then we'll talk about the Yankees.
Well,
Robert talking
started,
about
I never would have guessed the Braves would be leading the National League East, followed by the Phillies, then the Nationals third. But the Mets have had a tough year. I haven't followed them that much, but the news that I've heard recently is that they're bringing Tebow back for another year, and David Wright's going to play, a farewell game in the last series?
Yeah. On the 29th, yeah.
Are they just going to play him that one game, or?
Well, they're going to activate him on the 25th. Callaway said he may pinch hit prior to the game he's going to start. He's going to start at third base on the 29th. So that game sold out in 10 minutes after they made that announcement. I think
it's nice that the Mets are letting him go out this way.
Standing room only, 10 minutes.
Can you imagine the ovation now, pinch hitting for the Mets, that type of thing?
Yeah.
Holy Toledo. That's going to resonate. I wonder, and this is just a question off the top of my head, the Mets made a decision they weren't going to keep both Reyes and Wright back in the day. Do you ever think about if they made that decision to get rid of Wright instead and keep Reyes, what might have been Mert?
Wow. Well, I mean, they would have had to come up with another third baseman, obviously. I mean, Reyes, I think he was starting to go downhill, at the time that they got rid of him, and when they did let him go, he did not do well at the other places that he was at. So I think they got rid of Reyes at the right time, and there was no way they were going to get rid of Wright. He was just too popular and too good. I mean, he was the face of the franchise then, and the captain and all that. So there was no way they were going to get rid of him.
Well, his coming back, even for a game or two, it's a feel-good story, no matter what. Let's face it, this guy's worked his ass off. It takes him 3 hours before a game to get loose and be worked on and this and that. He felt some pain along the way.
Oh, it's very debilitating.
Wish him a lot of luck. Gene, you want to take a shot at the Mets a little bit?
Yeah, well, thing about Wright. Wright was he was on a Hall of Fame path. His career kind of ended at 31. You figure he could have played another 5 years and with almost 1,800 hits, with almost a 300 batting average, a bunch of 100 RBI years. He was a 5-tool player and possible on a Hall of Fame path. And
right.
it's one of the
Much
things
like Mattingly, as a matter of fact.
Right.
Am I correct?
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Had their careers continued, health problems notwithstanding, it would have been great. Current Mets, you want to say anything about them, Gene Hutmaker?
Well, Nimmo looks pretty decent. This McNeil, wherever he came from, he looks like he's doing decent.
Whoa,
Conforto's okay. So they're getting some offense, and the staff looks pretty good for next year. But they just got to spend and get like a Machado type or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been all that hurt had they signed him. That wasn't going to happen, but or if they do end up signing him.
Nimmo looks nice, though.
Mert, what would you say to a Machado type for the Mets?
Oh, be great, but don't get your hopes up. I mean, let's face it. I don't think that they're going to spend that kind of money. I really don't. I wish they would. He's plenty young enough. I mean, he's only in his late 20s, right? So he's got plenty of years left, and be solid at third base. I think Rosario is going to be a fixture at shortstop for a long time.
And McNeil at second. I can't tell you how this guy just stands out to me, offensively and defensively. As how did this guy? We talked about it during the week, Mert. How did this guy go so unheralded?
Because he was hurt for the last 2 years.
Okay.
And he's 26. He's 26 now, and he played very little the last two years because of injury. So he wasn't even on the radar. He wasn't in the top 10 prospects or anything like that. But all of a sudden, this year he's healthy. He starts tearing it up at Binghamton. They promote him to Vegas. He tears it up there too. And since he's come up here, he's been doing great, unbelievable. So, to me, if he's 26, he's got 5 or 6 good years to go, at least. So that's great. Very happy about that.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the Yankees a little bit. I'll ask you, Gene, if you take a shot at this year's 2018 New York Yankees.
Well, they got a bunch of superstars that they don't have to pay any money. With Judge, Andujar, Torres, because they're going to be 5 years or whatever before they can really make any kind of money. And these guys are all stars pretty much. And then, the pitching, you got to figure out this Sheffield guy. I don't mind if he was really good. See what's going to happen with him. But I don't know how they do it. They must have a great scouting system. I know they got Torres in the Chapman deal, which wasn't bad because the Cubs have Baez playing short second, so they didn't really need him. But they got all these young studs, and they're not even having to pay him a lot of money.
Right, but then it's going to come down to somewhere down the line you're going to have to make you can't.
Oh, they got the money to pay it too, so they're not like the Kansas City or somebody. They got to let them go. Right.
Well, let me just say one thing. Robert and Jack have been a little down in the dumps about the Yankees, if you will, last couple of weeks. This is a team that's won 93 games. And it speaks to the expectations of New Yorkers and playing in New York, the fans, the front office, and the players, too. I mean, there's a manager, Boone's under an incredible amount of pressure, as everybody that plays in New York is. And, the Red Sox are really great. You got to give them credit. And the Yankees fending off the A's, they're tough.
Yeah.
So I give the Yankees a lot of credit. What say you to that, Jack Degraw?
No, I mean, the Yankees have really accomplished a lot this year. I mean, you look at all these young kids coming up and what they've done and what they're going to do in the future. I mean, if you look at it objectively, they've really, done a lot. And, it's all going to come down to a one-game playoff and then anything can happen. But, I mean, if you look at all the young kids and what's going to happen in the years to come, I think as a Yankee fan, you have to be satisfied.
Yeah. You're going to want to win that home field advantage. Just to tell you, the A's today, for instance, scored 22 runs.
Wow.
And they're keeping a pitching staff together with bubble gum and Elmer's glue, I got to tell you. But nevertheless, their starting team, all through it, great young ball players. Watch for this center fielder, Laureano. He came from Houston. I think it was Houston that he came from, and it wasn't a Rule 5 thing, but he's tremendous. Another guy like McNeil, you see just this guy out of nowhere, unheralded, has a cannon for an arm and gets it in center field. He's fast on the bases. So look for him in your rear view mirror as we speak, guys. Robert Deininger.
Yes, Yankees tonight just set their franchise record for most home runs hit in a season with 246, which pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. Now, did they also set a record for most strikeouts in the season?
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
But heading into the wild card game, you'd like to see like Stanton in his last 26 games is batting like a $150 with only 2 home runs. Sanchez is, since he's come back, is still struggling to find his groove. The guys that have been really leading this lineup are Voit, Torres, and Andujar, the young guys. You just like to see some of the hit and pick up. Hopefully Judge, with being out, picks it up. But, that wild card game just has me a little bit nervous because you don't know who's going to be starting that game for the Yankees as far as Tanaka or Happ.
Now, tell us about Luke Voit. Where did he come from and how did he emerge on the scene? And all of a sudden, he's taken over for Bird at first base.
Yeah, he was Yankees acquired him via trade, and since August 24th, him and I think Christian Yelich of the Brewers had the most home runs in that span with 10. I mean, he's in 24 games batting .350 with now 10 home runs and 20 RBIs. He took the job away from Greg Bird. I don't even know if the Yankees could put Bird on the roster for the playoffs.
Who would have thunk that?
Yeah.
Who would have thunk Bird finally staying healthy has a year like he has? It's just
it's got to be frustrating for him.
On the other hand, the guy who's healthy and doing well is Hicks. So you never really know.
No, Hicks has had a solid year. He's 24 homers, 71, 72 RBIs.
Right. Also, I didn't mean to make light. Somebody mentioned Conforto's name. He's got 27 home runs, Conforto.
Oh.
And he's up from the 220s to the 240s, if I'm not mistaken. So he's doing some good. Hey, guys, this has been a nice format. Let's keep it going this winter. It'll make it a lot easier.
That sounds good, Ralph.
Sounds good.
Mert?
Sure. No problem.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I like this. I'm really happy with this. So we'll be back next week. Same bad thing. Next week we'll do it on Monday?
Yeah.
Is
Sounds
that
good
for you, Gene? Because I'd like you to join us.
Yeah, Monday's okay.
Okay. Monday, same time, same bat station.
Ralph, do you want to keep with the two shows until the season's over, or you want to?
Yeah, absolutely. We're
okay.
Let's do it that way because there is a lot to talk about for both teams. But after that, it'll take a lot of pressure off us for something to talk about during the winter months. It's a long time.
Sure. Good. Very good.
But okay, glad everybody's happy. We'll talk soon, guys.
Have a good night now.
Have a good
All
night.
Right. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Mert. Thank you,
Mert.
Gene, the Yankee hating machine. And rest in peace, Gene, the dance machine from the Gong Show, by the way. He passed away not all that long ago. And he was one of my favorites. Remember Chuck Woolery? Not Chuck Woolery. What was his name on the Gong Show?
Woolery.
Yeah, but Chuck Woolery was another quiz show.
Okay.
But, this Chuck with the hats. Anybody come up with that?
Chuck Barrett?
All right. No. Doesn't matter. We'll have that answer next week, and other important questions will be answered. Be well, guys. Thank you. Thanks for listening, everybody. Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. Adios. This has been a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.